Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hello, welcome back to our little podcast show. So on this week's episode, we will discuss on aging well, cognitive changes, and basic brain functions. So before we get started, I'm very thrilled to introduce you to our esteemed speakers. We have three guest speakers for this week's episodes: Dr. Alisha, Prof. Adeline, and also Miss Modina. So they are experts in the field of psychology, and they will be sharing their insights on cognitive changes related to aging. So I am your speaker for today's episode, Ali Maisara binti Hisham. Before we get started, these are the topics that we will be getting into. First, attention, memory, perception, as well as decision making. Okay, let me briefly introduce you to our topic for this week's episode. Of course, aging naturally affects cognitive functions such as memory, perception, attention, and decision making. But by understanding these changes is very crucial for promoting healthy aging. And by gaining insights into these cognitive shifts, we can develop strategies to support and enhance cognitive abilities as we age, which is very much the objective of this week's topic. This knowledge empowers individuals to navigate the aging process with resilience and adaptability, and fostering a proactive approach to aging well. Okay, next I will invite Dr. Alisha to give her insights on attention in relation to aging. Take it away, Dr. Alisha.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. My name is Dr. Alisha. Thank you for having me today. For the first topic, I'm going to talk about attention. So let's move on. Okay, so the big question is, does attention recede over time? Actually, divided attention does get affected as we grow older. The ability to perform more than one task somehow decreases due to slower perceptual processing as we get older. The brain experiences a number of neurophysical and neurochemical changes during the process of aging that somehow could potentially be the cause of the weakening of the functions of the cognitive function. And it is based on Yakno et al. 2007. Attentional ability is the first non-memory part to be affected among elderly who suffers from Alzheimer's disease. This is according to Uchida et al. 2020. It is actually interesting to see that the first symptom of Alzheimer's is actually the declination of attention itself. Therefore, there is a need to ensure that we pay more attention to this critical faculty as we get older. Okay, so based on literature findings, I've come up with three solutions that could enhance our attention as we get older. And there are relaxation technique, physical activities, and avoid multitasking, which I'll be explaining later. Okay, for the first suggestion is relaxation technique. Relaxation technique is quite common among elderly as they tend to find ways to keep themselves busy, especially after retiring. Therefore, it is encouraged for them to engage more in this activity that may help with their attention. This includes yoga, meditation, guiding images, and many more. However, for Muslims, there are additional activities that can help them to improve their attention, that is praying, whether it be praying as in dua or performing sunnah prayers on a daily basis. It is suggested by several findings that it helps to decrease anxiety, which also interferes with elderly's cognitive functions such as attention. Okay, next is physical activities. Actually, I've met people at the age of 50 years old and above who are still active to participate in regular physical activities and sports. Well, it turns out that this is rather beneficial for them. Here's the thing, our body works in a mysterious way. We might not know that what we do in everyday life might cognitively impact our health. Often I found that elderly are more likely to be involved in sedentary lifestyles such as babysitting, knitting, or doing any other indoor activities during their free times. But findings have shown that regular physical activities contributes to the improvement of functional abilities, and that includes attention. So physical activities such as hiking and light jogging might help to improve their brain function and also reduce depressive symptoms. Okay, for the last suggestion is multitasking. Multitasking involves the act of performing multiple tasks at the same time. Elderly might not notice that multitasking can somehow affect their ability to focus on one particular task. For example, a person may use the sewing machine and watch television at the same time. I'm sorry, those who often do this regularly, it is not advisable to do so. Multitasking is not recommended for elderly as they need to constantly perform multiple tasks back and forth at the same time. Concentration can be improved by finishing one task after starting another one, and it is also encouraged to avoid switching on electrical devices such as telephones that might cause multitasking to occur. Okay, so moving on to Islamic perspective. Okay, small acts done consistently will bear fruit over time. Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exhorts us to persevere in order to beat the clock and attain eternal success. This is particularly related to what I've mentioned before, which is multitasking. It is recited in the Quran, chapter 103, verses 1-3, by the token of time through the ages. Verily, man is in loss, except such as has faith and do righteous deeds and join together in the mutual teaching of truth and of patience and constancy. It is also important to make time for prayer and regression, as what I've suggested before, which is relaxation techniques and physical activities that might benefit the elderly. As believers, our strength is in our faith. It keeps us grounded and focused all the time. So relax and focus your mind with meditation on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Take wudu to increase attention and do zikr for a few minutes every day. It is also important for Muslims to increase concentration so that we can achieve khushu during our daily prayers. So thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Alisha. Next topic called perception will be discussed by me according to the literature on perception related to aging. Okay, as we age, vision impairment poses challenges in maintaining an independent lifestyle. So it becomes harder to do daily tasks such as reading, cooking, or even recognizing faces. So this can make us more reliant on others for help. Moreover, research has shown that visual impairment in the elderly is linked to problems with thinking, memory, and overall cognitive function. And according to the Psyc study on the slides, it actually increases the risk of developing conditions like dementia as well as Alzheimer's disease, which further impact our ability to live independently. So it is very, very important to take care of our vision health as we age, so that we can maintain our independence and overall well-being. Among the elderly population, impaired vision and poor hearing are the most commonly affected senses, which can significantly impact their daily lifestyles. So, in terms of vision, there are specific aspects that are particularly affected. For instance, the ability to perceive colors may be compromised, and additionally, the perception of motion can be impaired, leading to difficulties in accurately perceiving moving objects. And also, the ability to distinguish fine details and patterns may also be diminished, making it more harder for them to recognize complex design or reading small print on the newspapers, for example. So these findings are supported by the study by Spitter et al. 2016, which highlighted the negative impact of vision impairment on color perception, motion detection, as well as fine pattern visions. Now we move on to how to deal with it. We have three suggestions in terms of everyday competence: social relation and social functioning, and maintenance of cognitive functioning. Okay, first is everyday competence. It is recommended to increase everyday competence as age-related vision impairment has been found to be closely related to lower everyday competence. So, for instance, everyday competence can be tasks such as driving, household chores, or even leisure activities. So, vision status also plays a role when it comes to the connection between cognitive function and everyday competence. So, making sure to get regular eye examination or using vision aids when necessary is very important to maintain vision status in order for us to be able to be competent in doing daily chores. Next is on social relations and functioning. So, social relations and social functioning play a vital role in the well-being and everyday competence of visually impaired elderly individuals. So, maintaining friendships and receiving family support are particularly important for their overall well-being and quality of life. So, by fostering strong social relationships and receiving support from friends and family, the visually impaired elderly individuals can maintain their social functioning and improve their overall well-being. So these social connections can provide a sense of purpose, enhance self-esteem, and mitigate the negative impact of vision impairment on social interactions, as has been discussed just now. And it is also important to recognize and prioritize the importance of social relations and family supports as key factors in promoting the everyday competence and quality of life for the visually impaired elderly individuals. Okay, last but not least is maintenance of cognitive functioning. So the maintenance of cognitive functioning in elderly individuals is influenced by both the environment and their psychological conditions, which play crucial roles in promoting independence and quality of life. So the environment in which elderly individuals live and engage can significantly impact their cognitive functioning. And a stimulating environment with opportunities for mental engagement, social interaction, and physical activity can help preserve their cognitive abilities. So, for example, engaging in mentally challenging activities like puzzles or reading or learning new skills can actually help to maintain their cognitive function as well as their vision status. Additionally, psychological conditions such as positive emotions, self-efficacy, and resilience can contribute to the preservation of cognitive functioning. So, elderly individuals who have a more positive outlook believe in their abilities and possess emotional resilience are better equipped to counteract disturbances that may impact their cognitive function. Last but not least is the Islamic perspectives on perception. Okay, all Muslims are equal. We all know that, and there are no differences between leaders and the blind people. Islam actually advises the blind to study, and that they should not use blindness as a reason to feel inferior, and that people around them should not underestimate blind people. And lastly, the authorities need to help the public to change the mindset of the blind people and help them to be more confident in the community, and so that they could confidently contribute to the society. But of course, in this context, we apply the term blind people to people with impaired vision, and not necessarily people who are completely blind. Okay, so I hope you learned something from my part. And now I'm going to pass the floor to our next guest speaker, Professor Adlin.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good day, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me today. So, my name is Adeline, and I'll be sharing a little bit about memory, which is another example of cognitive changes that often occur among the elderly. So, first of all, we know that memory is one of the fundamental aspects of our lives and that it is susceptible to decline as we age. So, the reason why it becomes so important for us to understand about its natural process is because those who experience memory change, especially among the senior citizens, they will face some kind of difficulties to participate in their daily lives or daily activities, such as to enjoy their hobby, to meet up with some friends, or to do some kind of volunteer work. So, what are the things that we can do to deal with this? Firstly, there are exercises, both physical and mental, followed by having a really good support system. Okay, so firstly, doing a regular physical exercises is really recommended because it has a lot of benefits. For example, we can spend about 150 minutes of moderate intensity workout or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity workout every week. This is because physical fitness has been found to improve our cognitive ability. As for mental exercises, we can engage in several activities such as playing mahjong and reading books. When we're talking about reading, right, it's really important for Muslims, especially, to be aware on the importance of memorizing and understanding the Quranic verses as well as reciting zikr, which have been found to actually improve our memory and intellectual ability. Next, we have support system. So having a good support system, either by having a spouse or a frequent contact with close friends, can actually help to slow down memory decline because conversation or social interaction actually helps with mental stimulation. For example, when it comes to having a conversation, it does not only involve the domains of language, attention, or memory. It actually allows us to be exposed to new ideas and new challenges, and then use them to navigate our own personal lives. According to one theory called activity theory of aging, it stated that um, older people who participate in physical activity and social interaction will be happier and more fulfilled, and this can further lead to a more healthy aging process. Okay, so that's all for me on memory. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'll pass the floor to the next speaker.
Assalamualaikum everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to share with you about such a fascinating subject today, and I will discuss about decision making, one of the domains included in this topic.
Okay, so what is a decision making? It is a process involved making an important choice and selecting a plan of action from two or more viable options in order to pursue a solution to a particular problem. A good decision maker has the ability to assess all the information to comprehend the situation and the desired outcome and select the most appropriate course of actions. Older individuals are more prone to delegate, postpone, or refrain from making decisions as compared to younger adults. This may be due to their working memories and processing speed that tend to decline with aging brain. A growing body of research indicates that while a certain cognitive abilities may decline with age, others are retained, particularly crystallized cognitive talents such as domain-specific knowledge. For example, cooking, historical facts, stay maintained with age. Meanwhile, fluid cognitive abilities such as working memories, attention, and executive control gradually deteriorate. Considering that their fluid cognitive abilities deteriorate, which led to elderly person may perform poorer when making decisions. For example, they are less likely able to remember where information come from and are less likely to conduct comprehensive search for it. Older adults rely more on affect or gut instinct, feelings, and experience than on deliberative cognitive processes. But their collective wisdom and experience in life seem to make up for a reduction in effortful thinking. Okay, so how do we deal with this problem? There are three ways that I can come up with. The first one is stay mentally active. Second is seek social engagement, and the third is be willing to invest in lifelong learning. We will go over in details over these three ways in the next slide. Okay, so how do an elderly stay mentally active? They can use many ways as possible. For example, they can play puzzles, reading, picking up new abilities like hobbies, and play strategy games are a few things that can keep the mind active and improve decision making. Okay, the second way on maintaining cognitive abilities such as decision making can be facilitated by regular social interactions. People can get support such as physical and practical and emotional supports and resources such as information and expertise from expanding their social network, which will help them to deal with difficult situations more effectively in the future. And last but not least is being willing to invest in lifelong learning. By joining classes, participating in workshop or exploring diverse interests, one may also engage their minds intellectually and enhance cognitive talents such as making sound decisions. This can serve as a way to stimulate their mind, like the words of like the phrase, use it or lose it. So if you continuously using the nerve, then it can stay stimulated until you are older. Islam emphasized the process of making sensible judgments and advises against making decisions when you are feeling a certain emotion, such as being overly furious, for example, too hungry, too pleased, too under pressure, unsure about something, or you are in rushing situations that you cannot think properly about the problem and come up with a sensible judgment and decision about something. Therefore, in order to make decisions that are in accordance to Islamic perspective, individuals needs to consider a few things. This consideration includes, does Allah SWT approve our choices when we make one? And the second one, make judgment in accordance to the Prophet Nabi Muhammad SAW manners. For example, the judgments that you make should not hurt you or the other members of society, and they should not conflict with the Sunnah or the Al-Quran. There shouldn't be either intentional harm or unintentional harm, according to Nabi Muhammad SAW, based on hadith by Ibnu Majah.
Thank you, Ms. Mordina, for your sharing. Okay, unfortunately, we have reached the end of our podcast show. Thank you to the wonderful audience for tuning in. Remember, you can leave your questions in the comment section down below.